All right, and we are back. Welcome, guys. We got a 6-team slate to talk about here in this video, coming to you live from us players, right? No, but we break down the 6-game slate in this video. Also make content for player prop sites, Prize Picks, Underdog, and Parlay Play. Sponsor the video, that would be Parlay. Guys, if you're not on it, you can use the code DKDFS or the link down below for a $100 deposit match bonus. They just made an update too, where you can now win 110x and 155x your money if you are really feeling risky. Also, we got a nice discount here in Alvin Kamara, so make sure to take advantage of that. Again, guys, if you do click the link and deposit, it does help support the channel. And if you're looking for more content, as always, DFS for prop stuff, you can check my Patreon link down below. Let's recap the last couple of nights. Last night was a very solid night for me. Could have been better if, I don't know, Steph Curry didn't pick up 5 fouls. Massive foul trouble to punish me. Incredible how bad I run every night. But basically, my breakdown for this slate was, well, he had to take a stand one way or the other. I said, you're either going heavy in that Spurs game, hoping it stays competitive, or you're going a bit underweight, looking to the Spurs centers, one of Portis / Middleton, and kind of playing for the blowout. That's the way that I went. I went blowout. So I went Portis, Collins, Mamu, Bailey. Ended up working out. Rounded it out with Simons, Steph, Kuminga. I was hoping that one of Chris Paul or Wiggins would sit. They both ended up playing. Jaylen Brown and Jeremy Grant. So it was a solid night there. And then tonight, I felt like I had the right script. Loaded up on the Cavs and Luka Doncic, who started slow, but has really been picking it up. My last piece in filler, D'Anthony Melton. It's just, again, more proof, right? There's no one on planet Earth that runs me. Okay, so again, we'll be making videos here for the next few days for the holidays. I'll be back normal setup the 26th. So we'll be getting some videos here from the old basement. But yeah, let's talk about the slate. We'll start off with Utah and Detroit. So for Utah, I don't think we'll be seeing Clarkson, Keontae George, or Marrier at 7. It's a back-to-back, so is there a chance that like Laurie or John Collins sit? Sure. Now, as far as the top-end guys go, I mean, Markkanen at 8.7. So how many minutes did he finish with today? I actually want to see that because the minutes weren't amazing on him. Curious where he ended up. That was a competitive game there against the Cavs. They ended up losing. Okay, so you did see 36 minutes for Laurie. So 36 minutes for Laurie, 36 minutes for Fettuccine Alfredo, 30 minutes for Walker Kessler, 34 for Sexton, 30 for THT, and 20 for Olynyk, 23 for John Collins on the bench, 16 for Dunn, 16 for Kachi. So they actually ran a somewhat normal rotation for once, the Jazz. If they run a rotation like that again in this matchup, then yeah, I have interest in Markkanen. I like Sexton. I like THT. I think factoring in salary, THT, Sexton are going to look pretty good. Again, you saw 30 minutes for THT, 34 minutes for Sexton. Again, they're still solid, solid place here against Detroit. If they get similar minutes, I don't think I can play 7.2K John Collins off the bench. Walker Kessler, he's been up and down, right? It's just like, it's hard to predict. He didn't do much tonight, 10 and 5, unless he had like 20 blocks or something. Yeah, only 2 blocks and a steal. So he's all over the place production wise, but I obviously like his upside in tournaments. Nothing else that really stands out to me. I think everyone else is priced up a bit. Now for the Detroit side, so I mean, they've been getting blown out like every single game, but this is a game you would think should stay competitive against the Jazz. You got Isaiah Stewart, who is probable. Also, Killian Hayes is probable. So my guess is to go back to the normal starting lineup of Cade, Killian Hayes, Bogdanovich, Stuart Thompson, Isaiah Stewart. And then the question would be, okay, so who gets booted from the rotation of Wiseman / Bagley? They've kind of been going back and forth with those two. I don't think I'd mess with either, but one of those guys probably gets slashed from the rotation. All right, at the top, so we got to talk about Cade Cunningham. Played 44 minutes last game. 44. Like, what is that? If you get anywhere close to that again from Cade, then obviously he looks great at the top. Bogdanovich played 39 minutes. So, I mean, if you do get the competitive games are rare for the Pistons, but if you do and you get similar rotation to last game, then these Pistons are going to look pretty good. Now, the minutes in Stuart Thompson didn't make a ton of sense. He was like playing decent and then just never came back in. So that one's a little bit tricky, and I'll stay away from the backup bigs. Ivy with Killian Hayes back. Isaiah Stewart's fine at 5.6, but he's been really bad. I mean, I said it since once the Pistons signed the contract. That was one of the worst contracts I've ever seen. Signing Stewart to, what was it, like $70 million or something? It was like I forget what the exact contract was. That was an awful contract. All right, let's talk about New Orleans and Cleveland. So For New Orleans, you got Zion, JV, and Herb Jones. Zion, JV, Herb Jones, and Cody Zeller are all questionable. So this one's a bit hard to talk about. If they're all out, then yeah, guys like Ingram and CJ are going to look good. Trey Murphy's going to play big minutes. As far as who starts the 5, I mean, they might have to dust off like JRE in that scenario if JV and Cody Zeller are out. I mean, you might see some small ball Najee Marshall. Guys like Daniels and Hawkins would probably have to play big minutes. So there'd be a lot to like here from the Pels if all those guys are out. If they're all in, then I think the main 3 guys, Ingram, Zion, and CJ, and JV, the main 4, I should say, all look decent. No priorities. So this one's going to come down to injury news. And on the Cleveland side, so assuming Mitchell's out again, there's a lot to like here. I don't think we're going to see Garland or Mobley for a bit. We'll keep an eye on Mitchell. It's just an illness. I think there's a chance he could play. But if he sits, then we're going to be probably going heavy on the Cavs once again. I think the 2 standouts would be Craig Porter Jr. and Karis LeVert. But, you saw Sam Merrill go absolutely insane tonight. He's a guy that if he makes the shots, does have a pretty high ceiling. Strus should play big minutes. We know Jared Allen's going to play big minutes. Okoro should play 30-plus minutes. Niang got a minutes bump off the bench. So there'd be a good amount to like here from Cleveland if Donovan Mitchell is out. If Don Mitchell's in, not as much. I think Mitchell himself would probably be the guy to look to first. And then a lot of these Cavs would be more secondary plays. Indiana and Memphis. So this is a game that should be played at a pretty fast pace. A 10.8K for Halliburton. He's been, kind of playing in a little bit of a rut recently, Tyrese Halliburton, but reasonable price point. Good spot for him. Nice bounce back. He was playing well tonight, and the game blew out. So, yeah, I think Halliburton's a solid contrarian spot up there at the top. Miles Turner, 7.8K. Fine. The wings is where it always gets tricky. I mean, they go with the hot hand with like Mather and Hield, Top, and Bruce Brown, Naismith. Price points are up on all these guys. Makes it kind of hard to prioritize. I will say they did run Jalen Smith as the backup center over Isaiah Jackson tonight. So that is something to mention. 4.9K is not an amazing price point, but if you get 16 to 18 minutes from Jalen Smith, could make him playable. Let's talk about Memphis. So we talk about this man, Ja, GOAT. You guys know my feelings on Ja. You know I love him. And first game back, hits a game winner, 34, 6, and 8. You just love to see it, man. You love to see Ja back. 35 minutes was more than I thought he would play. Now you get a fantastic spot against the Pacers. If you get some more minutes for Ja Morant again, I really like him here at 9.5K. One of my favorite spin ups on the board. Guys like Bane and Triple J are playable because the matchup, more tournament plays. Marcus Smart looks like he's close to returning, but not yet. Vince Williams, 5.2. Played 35 minutes. I mean, he's playing big minutes right now. I think he's reasonable. The rest of the rotation is kind of tough to nail down with some of these centers, with Roddy barely played last game, Zaire Williams, Conchar. I don't know if I can mess with anything else here from Memphis. Clippers and OKC, it comes down to Paul George, I should say. Paul George is out. Harden and Kawhi look really good. And then you're going to give Amir Coffee starting. He'd be a fine value. I think I would prefer Powell, though, who would play more off the bench as well. Zubac should get a little more usage as well. There'd be a good amount to like here from the Clippers if Paul George is out. Paul George is in, not a ton. I mean, the price points on the top 3 guys all went up to a point where none of them would stand out. So this team would look pretty unappealing if Paul George is in. So again, big news there for the Thunder. Pretty easy to talk about. You got Shea at 10-2. He's their clear go-to guy. A little revenge spot if you guys are into that. You got Chet at a reasonable price point, 7-4. Again, does have a pretty high ceiling. 7 for 40 plus last couple of games. The mid-range options, I mean, they're fine. You got Jalen Williams at 6-4, reasonable. You got Josh Giddey, 6.1. The minutes have not been great on him, but he has had 3 of the last 4 games. He's gone for 40 plus. Lou Dort's minutes in production kind of been all over the place as well, but they're all playable options. If you want to take shots and some of these bench guys, you can, but just I never trust this rotation. Like Isaiah Joe, you would think probably plays around 20 minutes. Kaysen Wallace will see rotation minutes. You probably see a little bit of the big Jalen Williams as well. Ousmane Dieng's been seeing rotation minutes as well recently, 3.5K, but again, the Thunder bench rotation is hard to trust. Spurs and Bulls, so you got Wembanyama, 9K. I mean, I think he looks good at the top. Assuming he starts at the 5, assuming they run that same starting lineup and then move Zach Collins back to the bench, then yeah, I really like the ceiling here in Wembanyama. As long as he can avoid foul trouble, I think he looks great. The rest of the Spurs, more secondary plays. Keldon Vassell, reasonable options. Sohan's fine. Branham, Trey Jones, I don't think I can play Zach Collins, assuming he moves back to the bench. But yeah, the clear standout there would be Wembanyama. On the Bulls side, good amount to like from the Bulls, in my opinion. I like DeRozan. I like Kobe White. I like Vooch in a great spot. The Bulls, they're running a tight rotation. This is where the offense is running from, these top 3 guys. I like all 3 of DeRozan, Kobe White, and Vucevic. The price point of Pat Williams I think is a little bit high. I think Caruso's fine. He was someone that I played tonight. Price point did jump $1,000 though. So And then Drummond's going to play the backup 5, but he feels a little bit pricey. But yeah, the main interest for me would be the top 3 guys, DeRozan, White, and Vooch. And finally, Orlando and Milwaukee. Also, one thing to note too, DraftKings, they removed the 2 late games from the main slate. I'm honest, me personally, I'm not a big fan of that. I prefer just when they just conclude every game. So we'll see if they continue to do that. But it looks like they're either going to have either like a 2-game late slate or just showdown slate. But yeah, I prefer when all the games are on the slate. But yeah, so Orlando, Milwaukee, Magic side, a little bit of blowout risk here. But top end guys, Paolo and Franz, I do give the edge to Paolo when those 2 guys are a similar price point. Wildcard Jr. barely played tonight. It sounded like he was going to play somewhat normal minutes, and he didn't get much run at all. So can't go to him unless we get confirmation he's back to normal minutes. Obviously can't go to Bataz and Mo Wagner. I think Suggs and Cole Anthony are fine plays, but not standouts. Again, they're going to split the point guard position. Nothing else really here for the Magic. And finally, the Bucks. It just comes down to Giannis. This is going to change everything, right? If Giannis is in, then it's kind of the same thing as always. Giannis looks good at the top. Dame obviously has a ceiling. Middleton, Portis, Lopez all be playable. But if Giannis is out, then it changes everything. Then we're loading up on the Bucks. Then Middleton and Lillard become 2 of the best plays of the slate. Portis would be one of the best plays of the slate. Lopez would look better. More usage from Malik Beasley. And then we start considering some of these gross values like Jackson and Connaughton and Marshawn Beauchamp. So there'd be a ton to like here from the Bucks if Giannis is out. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for the video. As always, if you do enjoy, just make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you guys all in the next video.